everyone, and welcome to this UGA Sports Rumors versus Facts prospect profile. As I, Blaine Gilmer, am here with Ryan Puglisi and his head coach, Jon Wholley of Avon Old Farms in Connecticut. Guys, thank you so much for joining us for this prospect profile, Coach and Ryan. Excited to hear more about this recruitment and Ryan as a player, and also your kind of journey to Avon Old Farms, Coach.
Sure. Awesome. Thank you for having us. It's awesome.
Thank you for having me as well. Yeah.
All right, so let's get right to it. Ryan, your recruitment since this summer has absolutely exploded. I mean, you just look at these two helmets on either side of me. Couldn't get bigger than those two schools, and you got both of those offers this summer. Just give everybody kind of most people never get the opportunity to go through that kind of a recruitment. It's just something they read about. Tell everybody what it's like going through it firsthand.
It's awesome. Obviously, being able to have those opportunities from those schools that have been powerhouses, and I think it's just good to see it in reality, like to have it as a reality, because you're around excellence when you're there. And you see what it's like to get there and all that stuff, and what it takes to win a national championship. So to be around that atmosphere, I think really helped me as a player, just to know what it takes to be at that level and what I need to do in the future.
Absolutely. Coach Wholley, Ryan talk about being around excellence. You have yourself, you've been a college coach in the ranks, won a championship when back in UConn's heyday back then, and even did a cup of coffee with Penn State, and we're around with Mississippi State during your career. So you've been around at the college level. Yeah. You know what these people are looking for when they come calling on Ryan. Just kind of give everybody a glimpse into how hectic it is for these guys, especially now, and also what makes Ryan kind of the player that is making all these colleges come pursuing it.
Well, yeah, I think from a hectic standpoint, I think, every kid has a dream of getting a lot of opportunities, but it's like anything, right? Like it's more money, more problems, more recruiting, more stress. And I think, Ryan, when he came here, a lot of opportunity. He came here in the winter. A lot of opportunities started to come around, and then obviously come spring recruiting time, it had been the first true spring that college coaches had the ability to go out and evaluate since pre-COVID. And for him, he started the spring time with 4 or 5 offers and ended with over 20, and obviously culminating when he went to Alabama and Georgia on 2 days. And I think with that, I think he learned a lot of lessons. Obviously gained a lot of opportunities and gets so much attention. And now that they've been able to contact juniors freely, his phone's ringing off the hook and he's on the phone with college coaches. But I think what he learns from it is how to manage expectations and not be dependent on the opinions of other people, right? Like when you go through that recruiting process, and for instance, for him, he was throwing 2 or 3 times a week on every Tuesday, Thursday morning. And then sometimes coaches couldn't make it. He'd be pitching relief at 5 o'clock for our baseball team, but he was throwing, quick game and deep posts at 3 o'clock for a college coach, and then going over in his baseball cleats and go and play. So, but I think for him, it will help him at going through the recruiting process, but also just in his preparation and dealing with things within college, because you go there and, sometimes people he'll throw well and, hey, you're offered right then. And then sometimes people go through process, even people that really like them, like Coach Monken wanted him to meet Coach Smart and the rest of the people at Georgia before they pull the trigger on it. And sometimes you go on the highs. As soon as you get offered, you think you're Dan Marino, and when you're not, you think you're, a bust. And I told him, I said, you get to the point where he can't be dependent upon anybody else's opinion. He's just got to have faith in the process and faith in himself and work. And I think Ryan's ability, when you talk about what makes him special, I think he does have an unbelievable humility about him, a level head, and he doesn't get too high or too low, which I think allows him to use the ability that he has. He's extremely dependable in that sense. He's a big kid. He's 6'3", 200 pounds, 205 pounds and he's just a big, stronger kid. You know, my wife saw him playing shortstop. She goes, "He just is big. It looks like Cal Ripken." You know, like he's just a big guy, and he's got an extremely strong arm. He's a very good athlete, can throw from different platforms, and I think has really developed over the past couple months, picking up our offense and processing information. So, you know, I'm glad we have Ryan on our team. It's a great asset to have, and the thing about him is that he's always willing to work too, and I think he has the right demeanor to be successful at any level.
Ryan, no pressure, man. Dan Marino and Cal Ripken in the same little clip there. So no, just playing with you, Coach. But hey, Ryan, you see the diplomatic approach of your coach there when he said Dan Marino, and then he was looking for a name of a bus, but he said, I better just say bust right there.
Right, exactly.
Head coach. No, but Ryan, you talk about that process. You did go down to Georgia, got to meet with Coach Monken, things of that nature this summer. Take everybody kind of step through step how things got to this point where you're one of Georgia's top quarterbacks on their board.
Yeah, so it all, like Coach Wholley said, like Coach Monken came and saw me in the spring, and I threw pretty well that day, and so he wanted me to come back out to meet everybody, Coach Smart, Coach Faulkner, and all of them. And then so I threw in front of them out in probably, I think, it was in June. And one of the things that Coach Wholley has kind of preached to me is like when you go to those things, like all those guys have been coaching forever, so you can use that as like you can go there and you're coached by Coach Monken, who's been in the game for a very long time. So to gain, like, you can go there as like to gain information as you're also getting recruited. So if you have a level head, like, you know, when you're going there to get better, with also like having the opportunity to earn a scholarship, I think that kind of helped me a lot. Like instead of rather going on campus and be like if I don't get the scholarship, I'm going to be extremely angry or something like that. It's like rather going in with a level head and saying, I'm going to go in there, I'm going to get coached by some of the best coaches around. So I think going there with a level head kind of helped me a lot with like just being my best when I get there, knowing that if I don't get it, it's not a big deal. I just got some of the best coaching in the country that will help me further. So
after the opportunity to throw and meet the other coaches, how did the offer, you know, actually get extended? What was that experience like?
Yeah, so I threw for them, and then right after we were done throwing, they pulled me out of the group, and me, Coach Wholley, and my dad went up to Coach Smart's office, and that's when they offered me. Coach Smart offered me in his office.
Man, Coach Wholley, you can speak to this as well, but Ryan, I'll get your take on it first. So here you are. You go from the spring, like I said, of, you know, you got some interest from some folks, but then this summer you're sitting in the offices of Nick Saban, Kirby Smart, all these kind of guys in the summer. What's going through your mind when you're meeting with some of the best head coaches in the country?
Yes, I mean, it's obviously surreal at first. Like, you're in Kirby Smart's office and you're in Nick Saban's office. So when you're in there, it kind of hits you, and you're like, it's like kind of like a weird reality that you're actually in at this point. But it's definitely awesome, you know, that they all have their national championship rings like displayed everywhere. So to see that is awesome. And then to also like just sit there and talk to them, like, yeah, like everyone pictures them like they're Kirby Smart and Nick Saban, but like they're real people too. So like to sit with them and have a good conversation with them about like other things that aren't football, like talking about my family, his family, all that stuff. So it was good to talk to them about more than football, to see like just what they are who they are as a person.
Coach Wholley, did you have a little PTSD getting called into the head coach's office from being a college coach yourself? Like, oh no, I've been in this before.
A little bit. When I was down at Alabama, they said, yeah, you know, welcome for the Alabama experience. I said, well, you're recruiting Ryan. It's a lot better than when I was at Mississippi State the one time you played us and you beat us 41-10. So it probably would have been the same if we had played Georgia. So
what was that like for you, Coach?
It was awesome. I mean, obviously both guys, I have both Coach Saban and Coach Smart. I have immense respect, and having grown up wanting to be in their shoes and be a head college coach. And I've been at that level. Like, you know, those guys are the mecca of college football, the two of the best coaches in the country, and probably the two best coaches in the country, the two best programs. So meeting them, I mean, Coach Saban, you know, I grew up reading his books when I was, in college and stuff like that. So it was definitely a cool experience, but it was really cool to see it through the eyes of Ryan and their dad. Cause it's almost like, like a dream come true. It's like, almost like both of them have said to each other, like, is this even real? Cause you just go from, you're down there and like when Ryan went down there, so we went to Alabama one day and then Georgia the next. And Ryan, I think they went out there at Alabama, they stretched, and then they went out there and thrown. They really didn't warm up long. And they were throwing passes without really warming up. And Coach Saban walked over the first time. He skipped like a swing pass, like in the dirt, like almost like if you see a guy throwing out the opening pitch, like they throw one in the ground, like it was like he had the yibs. And I said, hey, I don't think Lawrence Taylor rushing at you could have got you that nervous. I said, calm the hell down. I don't care if it's freaking, Nick Saban or, Nick Faldo. You just throw the freaking ball. And he went out there and threw great the rest of the time. And obviously, I think that calmed him down. Going through that, and then at Georgia, he went there, I think, with extreme confidence, and he has a real good relationship, with Coach Monken, and Coach Monken has a good personality, I think, for Ryan's personality type, and how he plays the game. I think would be a great person to help mold and mentor him. But it was an awesome experience. Right after we went out too, one of the things is we went down to the lobby. The new facility there at Georgia, which obviously is incredible. But, we were walking and there was like kind of a scene of a movie. Matt Stafford just happened to walk by and he took a picture, like literally a minute left. It was like, a minute after he got the offer, it was like he just met Kirby Smart and now the Super Bowl winning quarterback from the schools there happened to be there. So it was pretty cool.
Maybe that was a coincidence for Matt Stafford showing up. Maybe it wasn't. We don't know. We'll never know how that goes right there. But, Coach, what are some of the traits when Coach Monken, Coach Smart, Coach Saban, Bill O'Brien, any of these schools from around the country, when they come and talk to you about Ryan or call you about Ryan, what do they identify as the things they like the most in him as a prospect?
Well, I think first and foremost, like from a physical standpoint, in terms of like people talk of the cliche thing times, arm talent. I think Ryan has unique arm talent in that he has a super strong arm with an effortless motion. And he could throw the ball off at different platforms, having played shortstop and pitched. He can throw the ball from all different angles and deliver it accurately. I think, and he's a good athlete. He's not necessarily a runner, but he definitely can run. He can move around and he has a good athletic balance to him. I think from like a personality standpoint, right, he is a calm kid that has played multiple sports, that rises to the occasion when he competes. I remember, the first couple of times I watched him play in baseball, like he was up and the team was down, 5 runs in the bottom of the 9th. And there was, he happened to be up with 3 people on, and he hits, a 3-run single to get them within range to come back. They ended up not winning, but like, he just has that like competitive naturalness to him, which I think is a good thing. And then from a demeanor standpoint, he's a willing and capable learner. He's a smart kid, and he works hard. And I think a kid like Ryan has the ability to go to a program like a Georgia or Alabama, because I think from a physical standpoint, he'll fit in and be as good as any of the guys they have, whether how high they rank. But I also think from a mentality standpoint, to be at a place like that, you have to deal with a lot. And I talked to him for Ryan. I thought it was good to go down to SEC stuff because it is a different universe than up here. Even being around at Penn State or a place like Ohio State where they care, like that's one little town. That's every single place down there. It's the feature. You go into I was an analyst at Mississippi State. I would go into the Walmart at Mississippi State, and they go, "Coach, tough game last week." And like as a quarterback, you got to be able to handle that stuff.
You're like, how do you know who I am? Like,
exactly. You got
it's a way of life down south for sure.
He's got to be able to handle that. But then also, I think he's the type of kid that like would be able to handle the competition and work hard, even if he's the third guy. And eventually when he becomes the first guy, he's going to be ready to take off because you have, Corvettes around you. So, great people and players and help around you. So I think his demeanor and physical talents, fit that of a quarterback and obviously make him a special talent.
Ryan, what's the visit schedule look like for you? I know one thing I noticed when I was looking at the schedule, man, you guys play on Saturdays at Avon Old Farms. Like,
Yeah.
I would be torn, man. I'd be like, oh, the college ball's going on right now. But I'm not. I'm just messing with you. I know you got to be liking playing on game days. But what's the schedule for visits and stuff look like for you?
Yeah, so I don't have a ton of like dates set for everybody, but I do know that I'm going down to Georgia on the 15th because we play a Friday that weekend. So
Of October?
Yeah, October 15th. So I'm gonna leave after the game and then fly out to Georgia, and
Okay.
they're playing Vanderbilt that day. So I'll be there.
I got you. So being a 2024 quarterback, people don't realize it's a little bit different, Ryan, than some other positions, maybe some teammates of yours or some guys because there's a lot more guys that get on the field at wide receiver or defensive line or linebacker. A little bit different at the quarterback position. How do you handle that mentally, knowing, okay, I'm one of the top quarterbacks in the class? I mean, you're focused on you and your development, but you have to kind of keep a little bit of an eye on, okay, well, this guy went over here. So what's that look like? How do you balance all of that as a prospect?
I mean, I try not to, like, I don't usually let that stuff bother me. I mean, I try and think that, like, stuff's going to happen and I'm not going to let, like, everything bother me. So, like, Coach Wholley always says, like, you want to live like this. You want to go up steady. Like, if you don't live like that and you always think about the future or something in the past, you're going to go up and down. Your move's going to keep switching. So if you live on a steady path, I think that'll help you tremendously, like, going ahead in the future. So I try and live in the present. If something happens, it happens. Can't really do anything about it. So that's kind of the way I think about it. I'm trying to let everyone else's, like, decision bother mine, but that's kind of just the way I look at it.
I've told them to really just focus on find the right environment for the right few environments that are going to allow his skills to grow and then take it from there, because obviously you can't control what other people do. I mean, sometimes it's dictated. If somebody says they don't have a spot, then they don't have a spot. But I think it's important to find the right environment for him to grow.
Yeah.
Ryan, what other programs other than Georgia, and you can finish your thought here, but what other programs other than Georgia and Alabama are kind of firmly in the mix right now?
A lot of schools right now. I think I've been talking to, like, obviously Alabama and Georgia a lot. I've been talking to Oklahoma, Ole Miss, LSU, Michigan State, BC. I've been talking to a lot of schools recently, but I think those have been the most recently.
Gotcha. Now, Coach, I know that you mentioned it right at the beginning. You said more money, more problems. That kind of harkens back to something I read in your bio. You're a rap battler. Have you engaged in this with the team? Like, what's going on with this? I know that head coaches got to kind of keep it loose, so that speaks to that environment you were talking about.
Yeah. You know what? I'm in all my years coaching up until this year. I even, like, when I was a GA at UConn, it was with some of the kids I played with. I never, like, after I was done playing, I never did freestyle. But when I was in college, 8 Mile was big. And I could, for whatever reason, I listened to a lot of like rap music growing up. I had the ability to do it, and I won a couple rap battles. But this year we did the last night of camp. We had, like, all the kids sing the fight song, and more than the fight song, and I kind of got roped into it. But I ended up having to roast one of our safeties, Keyshawn Adams. So
There you go. It's a little freestyle rap for Ryan. As I mentioned before, you're not real worried about the 2024 other quarterbacks and things like that. But one thing you probably are considering is quarterbacks in general do commit earlier, just because it's kind of a position where once they have their quarterback, a school does, then they can start building around them, and you can start recruiting guys around you. Is that something you're thinking about, and what's the timeline kind of on everything with your recruitment?
Yeah, definitely it is important to commit early as a quarterback so you can start recruiting your class. But I think I'll sit down soon with my parents and Coach Wholley and set up a timeline for when I'm going to make a decision, but nothing's official yet. Still kind of taking my time and just make sure I'm making the right decision and see what happens after that.
And that's it. Lastly, and both of you, because Coach, you were in the college level, you can kind of speak to this, but how much, Ryan, are you watching the college offense is like, how are you kind of watching replays and kind of diagnosing, okay, here's what Georgia's offense did this week, here's what Alabama's did this week? How much is that kind of going on for you? How much are you scouting and watching tape?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely right now, as you can see, is like Georgia's very explosive. Like they score a lot of points and they also don't let up a lot of points. So it's a good problem to have. But yeah, just to see they're both an extremely explosive offense. So that's something that really catches my eye. So yeah.
Coach, I know you said find the right environment, but do you kind of encourage all of your athletes to say, hey, kind of look at the system and see, do you fit in it?
Yeah, I definitely think it's system, the coaching, and then like player by player. I kind of said that with Ryan through it. It's like, I need to go through games to see like what things they need. Like some kids need to be around a place like Georgia where the kids are at that level because they're going to grow the most around it. It's like some kids you place in advanced calculus because even if they're not ready, they're going to catch up because they have the ability. Some kids need to be super comfortable. They need to be in a situation where they're alpha, and you kind of find that about them. I think also from obviously a schematic standpoint, you want to be at something that's going to fit your skill set, and definitely haven't talked to Coach Monken from an offensive standpoint. I think his personality and then the system that they run would fits Ryan's skill set. And I think he would know how to coach him in the right way. And there's a couple other coaches that are like that as well. But I do think that is important. And it's kind of a crapshoot. As you know, having been in college, part of the reason here at Avon Old Farms is that we moved around. My 6-year-olds lived in 5 different houses. So you go by that, and you just don't know if that coach is ever going to be there, too, for more than 3 years. But the general environment and stability is something that you want to look for and go.
Well, I appreciate both of your time. I know it's busy getting prepared for a game on Saturday, but I appreciate you joining us.
Excited.
Ryan, we'll look forward to talking to you, after that visit on Vanderbilt weekend, catch up and see how everything goes with that Georgia visit.
Definitely, that'd be great.
All right, Blaine Gilmer here for UGA Sports Rumors versus Facts, presented by Auto Owners Insurance and Turner Wood & Smith Insurance in cooperation. For Ryan Puglisi and Coach Wholley, I'm Blaine Gilmer. We'll catch you guys next time.